do I have, right? Then in that case, I might want to go with my colleagues. I might want to choose, public transport, mixed transports. I might just want to go by train. I might just want to go by a bus, or I am okay to take, different routes.
So if we are choosing carpool, then the app would be a little different. If I'm choosing the
Right.
say public transport, that can have a little different flow.
So what's the problem you're solving with the app?
We are connecting people, and so that I know that I'm informed always that okay, there's next car.
Printed on the plastic bag. So if you have a shared refrigerator at work and you want to, so where you should be now is you should have, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. So we've got, so at 2 o'clock now. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes telling you about the pitch presentation, which centers around your prototype. So your main focus right now for the next hour and a half is your prototype, but also to take a little bit of time to think about how you're going to pitch it. So I'm going to talk about that first, but I would flip that if I were you. I'd focus a little bit on your value proposition, but then really focus on the prototype. And then we'll have the pitch presentations. We're still thinking just based on time what the best way is to do that. So I'll let you know on that. My goal right now is that you have 5 minutes per presentation. We might have to shorten that to 4. I've seen venture capital competitions where people are competing for $100,000 and they get 1 minute. So don't feel too bad if I'm giving you 3, because that's 3 times as much as you get for $100,000 prize. And although the prizes are lovely, it's not quite as value, not quite as much at stake as that. And you can get a lot done in that time. But I will tell you that very quickly. I just need a couple more minutes to think about that. But 5 minutes will be the maximum you'll have in terms of time to present. Okay. So I don't want you to get too focused on presentation. It's more about getting your solution right and nailing that down. And there's a couple of things that I think are useful in that, both in presentation and in going from where you are. So what you should have now is you should have a journey or journeys laid out. You've got a pretty good idea of the framework of what you're trying to do, but it's still messy. It doesn't necessarily fully make sense. You don't know exactly what it's going to be, but you're ready to start getting down to kind of screen level, thinking through how it's going to work, and you may iterate a little bit within that. Is everybody kind of in that space? Yeah? Good. Okay. How are you feeling about what you're doing? Are you kind of thinking, wow, we've actually solved a problem here. We've got something kind of cool. Yeah? Okay, that's a nice feeling. It's not where you were this morning. This morning you were like, that's way too big. But I think you've done a really nice job. The groups that I've talked have done a really nice job of narrowing down to something you can really work with. So you've already kind of done this storyboarding, and you're going to move to kind of prototyping. And I don't remember, did I show this to you guys yesterday? It doesn't matter. But we're basically, it's just a stock slide I have for thinking about prototyping. It's just about prototyping and creating a prototype that kind of shows what your app can do. So I don't have any restrictions about how you show your prototype. If you want to just create a storyboard on a single sheet, like I see you guys are kind of laying out here, that's absolutely fine. If you want to do it as individual sheets, there's some nice things you can do in terms of interaction, if you've never done that, but to have, you can have like 2 states of a moment in the application with a Post-it or just a piece of paper that you add on there. So think about bringing it to life. You'll be presenting in front of the whole room, so making it kind of big enough that people can see will be nice. But I also think we can kind of squeeze up and see as much as we can see in doing that. It's a very big group to do this with. I normally do this workshop with like 20 people, maybe 30. So this is a big group to do this with. So that's going to be one of the challenges is just for everyone to see it. So think about that as you're prototyping. So this is really what the pitch framework is. In the very short time you have, a really quick statement of the value proposition. I'll show you that template again in a moment. So it's just really saying what it is that you're doing and what value it brings. We'll talk about that, problem and solution. Walking through your prototype. So it's a setup of, this is the problem we have and this is how we're solving it, and now we're going to walk through that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about this stuff, is to say what would be next. And part of this is I want you to do some challenging of your own prototype And this is, if you were pitching this, let's pretend like I'm from, the government, and I'm going to be investing in the best idea for smart cities. One of the things I'm going to be thinking is, do I believe that this team has thought through their idea enough that they've already faced some of the challenges and they know what they need to do next? So that's part of what we want to do, is a little bit of that thinking in here. So, where does this take you? If I gave you 3 minutes for this, I'd spend 30 seconds on this, 2 minutes on this, and 30 seconds on the rest, right? So that's the balance, right? Mostly about the prototype. Make sure you've got a clear statement in the value proposition. The other stuff is nice to have, okay? Just a reminder of the criteria for judging. I'll leave up a page that has all of this stuff on it in a second. Remember that value proposition template that I put up in the talk yesterday? I think almost everybody in the room was there for that. But this just gives you a really nice way to kick off the presentation, right? Our product, and give it a name, or tell what it is, will help. Who's it focused on with the problem that exists. And the more I'm convinced that that really is a problem, the better. That's where the value really comes in, because of the benefit delivered. And now your whole prototype walkthrough is going to be showing how you're delivering that benefit. So you have to believe in this statement, because you're not going to be questioning that or doing anything else, explaining that. You're going to say, look, this is true. If I believe this, and you can really solve this problem, this is an important problem and you can solve this problem, now you're just proving it to me with the prototype. And actually, again, as I said before, that statement is kind of a hypothesis in itself, right? Is this the right thing is this the right thing for us to be creating? Is this actually the right consumer? Does the consumer really have that problem, or the user really have that problem? Does this really solve that problem? All of those are going to be questions I'm going to be asking. I'm just going to walk through a really quick example of something that has nothing to do with this, but to give you an idea of that, and I want you to be challenging your idea with some of this kind of thinking. So here's a value proposition, totally unrelated to Smart City, but our office delivery service will help people working late in the office with the difficulty of finding healthy food while working late, because we specialize in healthy meals delivered to the business district after hours. So we got this great business idea. We're going to have this delivery service to offices, because people work late in the office and they get hungry and they're too late for dinner, so we're going to deliver this to them. Now, I put that up there and go, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Delivery healthy food to offices, people working late. But I can immediately see there's a whole bunch of reasons why that could be just a totally stupid idea. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to challenge it and say, why is that a stupid idea? So first one, there's no need or want, right? I would rather go out for a quick meal than stay in the office and eat. I don't want you delivering food to me. It's actually, I need to get out, right? I have no interest in that. There's no pain. I actually don't want healthy food when I'm working late. I want junk food. If I'm working late, I want to at least, indulge myself, right? There's no obstacle. Maybe I can already do this with existing services. It's already there. There's no need for this. There's no market. Maybe there aren't enough people who actually work late and eat while they're working. Again, maybe this just doesn't exist. I've just imagined it's really there. Customer segment's wrong. Maybe this is more of a, if I don't think it's the right service, but actually no one in an office is going to use this. But maybe on a college campus for students who are throwing a party, or getting together in the evening, it's on-campus delivery. I don't know. So the idea is to take whatever you're thinking of and say, would I really do that? So we had a nice discussion over here, and I won't tell you specifically what the group's working on. I don't want to steal their thunder. But about, that they're getting wrapped up in the goodness of the thing that you're doing, and will people really do that? What's their own motivation to do it? And that's one of the real proof points to test. It's very easy for us to get convinced that people will do the thing that we're doing, when actually, when's the last time you did something because someone thought it was a good idea? Even when you think it's a good idea, even though I know I shouldn't have gone back for a second helping, I did. And my stomach shows it, step by step by step, right? Even if I know it's good, it's not the right thing to do. So really, thinking of, are people going to be really motivated to use the thing that you're creating? Does it really make sense? Is it really solving a problem? Okay, so that's just, like I say, that kind of goes into feeding your value, your proposition. So I've kind of got all this on one page. So I'm going to just leave this up so you can kind of think back and refer to it. So the basic structure, which as I say, if you do this part well, value proposition and the prototype, in fact, the prototype is the main thing, then that's great. If you've done a little bit of thinking about this and you say actually, the reason we believe that this is going to be so valuable is, and you can show you've tested your assumptions even better, or our first step is going to be to test this assumption by doing this, because we know that's the biggest challenge to it. And then if you've got anything else special to say, you got the template for that, and then the criteria that we're going to be judging by. And basically what we're going to be doing is scoring against each of those criteria, and then, on the basis of that, making a decision about the best in each category. Any questions? Because I'm basically going to just let you loose for the next hour and a half to finish this. Revenue model. It's a good question. In a different context, I might focus on that. I think if it's part of your value proposition, again, that can be a really strong motivator. We're really focused on, I think it's going to depend on your particular pitch. If you feel it's not part of it, so there's nothing in there that's about. We're not getting into the business model, the revenue model in this necessarily. What I would say is there is a thing here about impact and value, and if there's and also again just the kind of the it's probably really there. Is this really solving a problem? Is this really doing something of value? You might help make the case for that by saying, actually, this could, we believe this could save, X amount per year, or, this could generate this much revenue. Could be a strong case for that, but I'm not looking for that. So it could strengthen your case, but it's not a requirement. It's just one way of talking about value. Any other questions? And I'm going to, I'll be here for the hour and a half to answer questions as you're thinking through stuff. I'm going to become a little bit less guiding at this point, leave you a little bit more on your own, because we've gone through the exercise and the structure to get to this point. I'm happy to answer questions, but I mostly want you to solve your own problems at this point and get through. So I'm happy to help you get unstuck a little bit, answer questions about, what all this means, but now it's time for you to really own your design. Okay? All right, so off you go. It's like I said, we're aiming to have the first team pitching in an hour and 15 minutes. Okay? Order of presentation will be done by a draw. We'll first do the 3 competition teams. Yeah, that's why we wanted to make it fair, so that rather than giving people a choice or having a fight over what order, we just do it by a draw. So, Yeah. So one thing to think about: those of you who aren't presenting, so give your full attention to the people who are presenting. It's going to be very rapid turnover. So what we're going to do is announce who's next and who's after them, so that you'll know that you're coming after that team. So as soon as they're finished, you can bring your stuff up and get set up and be ready to go right after the team that went. So we're going to go through this very quickly. Everyone who's in the audience while that presentation is going on, be thinking about those brief criteria and make some notes to yourself, because you're going to be voting on who you think had the best overall. So against those criteria of the brief, the impact and value, the innovation, the UX design thinking, and then you'll be given a little chit to vote for your best team at the end.
Can we have your attention, please? This is very important.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, while it's going on, be paying attention and capture your notes, because you're then going to vote on the best team, and that carries as much weight as our input. So there's going to be it's going to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So the popular vote in the spirit of the democratic smart city, human smart city idea, that vote will count as well. Can't vote for yourself. You can vote for anyone else.
The rule is that you have to vote for any other table apart from yourself. Okay? Hindu business line, who is also covering this event, and he will be giving you a check. So after each presentation, you can just write. Once all the presentations are through, then you have to write your favorite team. That's what you have to write in that check.
Yeah. So keep track as you go, team names, and you're thinking about them so that you can go through and vote at the end.
Yes, and when he will check your table name, and if he finds that you have written the same name, he's going to inform us. So please do not do that.
Okay. So, what do this? I'll just
Yeah.
draw. So the first presentation, I'll do the first three, all three in order, and that way the three competition teams know what order they're going in. So number one, you can see I am shuffling these. I have no idea what order they're in. Okay. The first one will be XA,
Yeah.
followed by TOMP, followed by AIZ.
GOPM and then
TOP. That's TOMP. Okay.
Top end.
Top end,
Next
that's
is-
right.
Okay, so we're starting first with the teams.
Off you go.
Hi, we are Team XA. Our Smart Traveler helps citizens to find and provide shared rides with reduced vehicles on the road because it specializes in providing fast, convenient, and cost-effective means to reach your destination. Facilitates community building and building trust. Additional source of income for providers. Reduced pollution. Less stress on city infrastructure. It's a viable solution, a viable business solution. It fits into the citizen's lifestyle. It doesn't call for any sacrifices, and it reduces traffic congestion. So Mahesh will walk you through the impact and the value proposition.
Okay, just looking at it, does this solution solve a lot of problems in a creative way? Yes, we think definitely it does solve. So first major thing it solves is reduces number of cars on the road, and a lot of cars which are single occupant. So it will pull off all the cars from the road. There's no extra infrastructure cost required for the government to be introduced. Okay, this app in the prototype you'll find that this app does build trust and community. It facilitates gamification in a way so that people are encouraged to use this app. This amount of fuel consumed is less as compared to 10 cars running on the road versus just one bus running on the road. It also is an integrated network of commute from one mode to another mode. Parking space, we spend a lot of time searching just the parking spot. So it does save that kind of time. It increases the social networking, and it solves not only the concern of safety of women but as the entire society or community. The system is usable and is engaging, and it creates a world of its own. So that's a very good thing that we want to be building community. So Richard would walk you through the prototype now.
Okay, so as you can see on the screen, so first we take your from location where you are exactly traveling from, because it's always from destination A to B. We take A location where you're trying to reach, then the time when you're going to start. Now there are two options. You can either find a ride or you can provide a ride. So when you click on find a ride, I'll go for provide a ride first. When you want to provide a ride, it will give you, now that you have already given the destination and your location, it will give you different routes to reach that location. It also gives you how long would you take, to reach that destination, along with the number of passengers that you're going to find on that route itself. So once you've selected that, it takes you to the route. Then on the route, if you see, you have got different commuters who are traveling on that road, and you also have the commuter rating, the passenger rating available to you, so that you can select the number of passengers depending upon if you want 4 passengers, 5 passengers, and once you've selected the passengers, you just click on the button, let's go. The next, as soon as you complete your journey, you have a facility to rate the passengers you have brought to the destination, and you can post the rating. Next, you can also, if in case you are the passenger, you get the opportunity to give the feedback as soon as you reach the destination, or based on the timeliness, the trust, the comfort, overall rating, and if you would like to recommend it to your friends. As you click submit, you would see the screen wherein it tells you that you have earned 100 points for this. Congratulations on the total number of points. Click OK, it closes. On click of redeem, it gives you the options of how you can redeem these points. Okay, now if you select find a ride, here's the next. Okay, take me fastest. Because see, these days time and money are the two
Sorry,
major.
that's 4 minutes.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Are you sure?
Time flies. Time flies.
Give us 30 seconds. I'll do it in the
If
elevator.
I give you 30 seconds, I'll give everybody 30 seconds, and I'll miss my flight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, that's it.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah. We have to set the context first. Woman robbed in auto rickshaw is just the recent event that happened in Pune. And as we all know, Nirbhaya rape case in Delhi happened in 2012, and still the repercussion is happening all around the world. So to set the context, the transportation and women's safety in transportation is really a major concern today. So we have decided to come up with a Safe Ride app that will help women in India with the safety problems in transportation, because we build an entire surveillance system around women and empowering women for safety. So we have considered community share and care on web, mobile and application, and mainly we are focusing on digital technology to focus on that part. We are also thought of reducing transportation costs, helping reducing the pollution to the extent possible, so that we can avoid single journey and share and care. So this is like what we have today. Air pollution due to transport, like 35% of the pollution is happening because of transport, and this is something we will have. So the next 2025, it will be 75% if we don't curb the pollution. And so I'll